This is the one camera I use for myself. Not for clients, not even for YouTube, just for the love of making images. This video isn't a review, it's more of a personal essay about what happens when a camera doesn't just feel like a tool or a paycheck, but a companion. And the camera that I'm referencing, if you couldn't tell just from the imagery, is my Nikon ZF. And I truly do adore this camera, and I'll definitely get into why in a minute. Now, this video definitely is not sponsored by Nikon. It's not sponsored by any camera company, but to be upfront with you guys, it is sponsored by Hollyland, and they provided me with these really cool microphones, and I'll be using them throughout this video and kind of talking about them as we go. So yeah, if you like how the audio in this video sounds, just know I'm using these really nice Hollyland microphones. Now, what am I even talking about? This is definitely coming from a new place in my camera career slash hobby. I've reached a point now where ever since I really started doing YouTube and reviewing cameras, and cameras have switched from something that I just enjoyed doing as a kid to now a job, it makes all the cameras that I use and I look at feel like work. By the way, guys, how is the audio in this video sounding? I think it actually sounds pretty dang good. And again, this is brought to you by Hollyland, and they supplied me with these really awesome Lark 2 Maxes. And one of the really great things about them, in my opinion, is that directly on the pack, you can tell it to record a backup just by clicking the record button, but you can also easily toggle on and off noise cancellation, which honestly, I find myself filming outside so often that being able to quickly toggle on noise cancellation, and it actually works pretty dang good. In fact, here's a test for you. Okay, so this is a wind test with these Hollyland microphones, and it's pretty windy here in the middle of Joshua Tree, but if I actually just toggle on noise cancellation, so now it's turned on, you guys can hear how much more quiet it is. There's also people talking in the distance and everything, so pretty dang cool. Additionally, the actual receiver that is on top of your camera has this really big touch screen, and it's really clear on how to navigate it, which I like. You can just go ahead and turn the dial to increase or decrease the gain on the microphone, and you can also on there, as the operator, turn on noise canceling or hit record. And again, very large icon, so it's very clear what you're doing, which again is such a big deal, especially for content creation, because you don't want to have to end up filming things again, or sometimes you don't even have the option to film things again. So peace of mind is everything. But really the kicker with these things is that it comes with these. If you don't know what this is, these are Bluetooth wireless monitoring. This is awesome. So instead of having to be attached to the camera with headphones with a wire, which is really annoying, you can actually monitor wirelessly your audio from anywhere, basically. This is a great idea, and I'm super glad that Hollyland included these in the Lark Max 2s. And if this sounds good to you guys, I will have a link down below in the description so that you can check them out for yourself. Thank you so much to Hollyland for supporting channels like this, and let's get back to the Nikon ZF. All of my cameras just started to become specs and heat tests, image quality, codecs, and I think I was starting to forget why I even enjoyed cameras in the first place. And to be honest, I think somewhere along the way, I just kind of stopped taking photos unless I was making a paycheck. Even just seeing a camera in my bag if I was just going to the beach or if I was on vacation visiting a friend, it just made me feel like, oh, in the back of my mind, I need to be producing something, creating something. And again, this is really since I started making YouTube content my job. But that's when I got the Nikon ZF about a year ago, and it really just kind of cut through all of that noise. It's got these brass knobs and clicky switches with just kind of the right amount of quirk. And even though technically it's not as fast as some of my other cameras, it forces me to kind of slow down and to think, and to kind of shoot more how I used to when I was a kid, before I ever made any money off of these cameras. Not even to mention that the JPEG profiles off of this camera, especially the monochrome, just look absolutely gorgeous. I don't even have to edit them. They look great straight out of camera, which is really freeing in a way. And honestly, in a weird way, that's been kind of a relief. I feel like since I have learned how to actually edit my photos, which of course I still do with the Nikon ZF from time to time, it feels like if I'm not editing them, I'm not extracting the most quality that I can out of these images. But Fujifilm taught this to me first, but being okay with JPEG photos is kind of a freeing and relieving process. It reminds me almost of shooting film. When I shoot my film photos, I just click the shutter and I'm like, well, that's the end of that. I'll see that in 2 weeks. I get these a little bit faster, but the JPEGs kind of give me that same feeling. And that's kind of the ticket with this camera. I found myself taking it with me more, not because I had to take a camera with me, but because I wanted to. Lately, I've found myself going on more walks, sitting outside longer, noticing light, texture, color, all the things that kind of made photography magical when I first got started. And these photos that I'm taking, while not necessarily the best, they're not for YouTube, they're not for an algorithm, they're not for Instagram, they're just for me. And I know that kind of sounds dumb or simple, but I do feel like that's something special that over the last decade I've kind of lost. And that's really the thing. In the camera space, especially in the YouTube camera space, everything has become so spec focused, which I understand. I mean, we're all out here trying to make money and using the best cameras that we can, and that's all well and good. But I do think that with all these specs, we can become blinded to what the plot of any of this really is. And for me, that's to create interesting things and also to preserve memories. And I think that's what the Nikon ZF reminds me. And it's definitely not the best camera I own. I own a lot of other really cool Lumix cameras that have all the professional features like dual card slots, open gate, ProRes RAW, you know, insert whatever other specs here. But this is the camera I reach for when I'm not working. I don't reach for those Lumix cameras. Those Lumix cameras aren't coming with me when I go to a local cafe or hang off of my shoulder while I go on a walk with my dog. But this little camera does. And I'll be completely upfront with you, since I made my last video, I don't even remember what the specs are for this camera. And frankly, it doesn't even matter. All I know is that I enjoy it while I'm using it, and it does what I need it to do in the moment. And I feel like as creatives, we all need that something that reminds us that this is something that we enjoy, and it's something that used to just be a hobby at one point. And for me, that's the Nikon ZF. But for you, maybe it's a different camera. I know also a different avenue of photography that does this for me is film photography. It just slows you down and makes you really think about every single shot. And again, it's just something about this tactile, interesting, beautiful digital camera that also puts me in that same headspace. And I really think that's something that's going to be important as we move forward in this creative space that has just become a little bit weirder lately. Yeah, this is a weird video, but I think that's just something that I wanted to get off my chest about this camera, because I wanted to cover it again, but I just didn't know how, because I didn't want it to be all about the specs, because that's just not really what matters to me about this camera at all. And frankly, aside from talking about it on YouTube, I don't really think I will ever use this camera for work. Not because it's not capable, because it really is capable, but because I like having something that is just for the hobby of photography and something that's going to come with me wherever I go. I'd be really curious to know what your not for work camera is, or what it is outside of cameras, maybe even that gives you that same feeling. Definitely let me know down below in the comments. I think it'd be really fun to share all this. Also, if you're watching to this point and you've enjoyed the content, maybe consider subscribing. Speaking of the YouTube algorithm, I know that YouTube does like it when we ask, so there it is. Thank you so much to Hollyland for supporting this channel. I really do enjoy these microphones. They have some pretty amazing features, so if you want to check those out, I'll have a link again in the description for you all to check out. I hope that you all have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.